We had this question pop up on the fan text line, 503-864-6326. Golden State might be the place where we could dump Grant. Jerami Grant. Here's the problem, though, is that you mentioned this at the end of the Blazers season, is like, we just don't know what teams are going to have to make absolutely game-changing, wide-ranging changes on their roster. Once the playoffs happen, playoff teams go, oh boy, we can't do this anymore.
Yeah, because the timeline's accelerated for them, then they have to make changes sooner.
The only problem, though, is that what does Golden State have that the Blazers want?
For whatever reason, Blazers fans seem just infatuated with Jonathan Kuminga, and
No.
I want no part of that process. Look, if he turns into a great player...
Who are these fans?
They are in my mentions all the time, and I'm like, do you like the idea of Jonathan Kuminga? Because if you watched him play basketball...
Your mentions are a lot like... They're a dark place.
Like,
they're a weird place.
And this is... I'll just pull this up, just because it's interesting. What is it you think Jonathan Kuminga does well?
I don't know. Not pass, take shots.
I mean, here's the thing. So Kuminga's this...
I think he does a lot of things okay, but I don't know what he does great.
He's this 6'8", 6'9". Like, if he had in his head, if like there's this complete mental shift where he's like, I'm going to be modern Sean Kemp. Just use an absolute power of force of athleticism and will to just dominate the interior. Be like, okay, that's something I can get excited about, because you that kind of guy can be successful. So he's not quite 23 years old yet. While his usage rate has gone up basically every year, his points per shot attempt was in the absolute dregs this year, 21st percentile, right? You take a look at his defensive rebounding. He doesn't get blocks, he doesn't get steals, and he's not a good rebounder. So
that's awesome.
You take inefficient shots. You're a black hole. You're not a plus defender. You're not a box score steals guy. You're not a box score blocks guy. Like, what the hell does he do?
Well, he does a lot of things that good, not great.
Like
just good.
If you look at his shooting chart, he's an 87th percentile rim finishing. Outside of that, mid-range 25th percentile. 3-point shooting 26th percentile. So
that's not good.
Outside of the rim, he doesn't do anything. Yet you look at his shooting frequency, he's nowhere near where he should be at the rim. He takes almost no threes, so he's not even he's a bad 3-point shooter, and he's not taking anything, so he's not a threat out there. He was in the 94th percentile among forwards in mid-range attempts, and I just got done telling you he was in the 25th percentile in mid-range efficiency.
Yeah.
So I like.
It's a lot of numbers, man.
I'm just saying.
It's a lot of numbers that just say he's meh.
He's below meh. And then there hasn't been anything that's been sliding towards that. Like, if there was like a Scoot Henderson blip of like, oh, okay, there's little blips of him figuring some stuff out, and I can see like there's like marked growth in certain areas.
I would call a couple of his playoff performances pretty good blips. He had 28 points the other night.
Individual games as opposed to months.
Oh, you're looking at a blip as a month?
Yeah. Like, give me 15 games. Give me 15 games. Like, let me see you put it together for a stretch, and not just a hot stretch. Like, let me just see you. Like, even if you're not shooting well, you're doing the right things, and that's the thing with Kuminga. He doesn't do the right things. He's got in his head that he's Kobe Bryant. And it's
he's
like,
not.
You're not, dude. Don't do like it's. The path is very clear for him to be a good and like even possibly a very good and productive player. He just doesn't want to go down that path.
Well, I mean, if you can't work alongside Steph, I don't know if you can work.
That's kind of point. Everybody wants to beat up on Steve Kerr.
Kind of creates everything.
I think Kerr is a little rigid with some of his stuff for sure. But like, there's a certain level of feel and IQ that you just have to have in the NBA that I feel like so many, particularly the G League Ignite guys, just don't have at all and haven't really shown much development in that process. And it's like, could it be
I wonder why they shut it down.
I mean, yeah, it was a way for those guys to get money, and I don't begrudge them one bit for doing it. But I've mentioned this in like scouting and evaluation, how I've kind of changed over the last couple of years, where in the past I might have really favored a guy like Kuminga. I'm soured on those guys that just don't show any feel or IQ at that requisite level.
Well, but that's the hard part is how do you do that in college or the G League? Like that's a really
Well, the
hard
G
thing
League
to do,
especially because
is to show that because
the games didn't matter.
sample size is smaller and also the competition has so much variance.
Well,
I mean, it's not
the Ignite guys,
great.
Dink Pate, who played for the Ignite, and then when it folded up, went and played for the Mexico City G League affiliate last year, the Capitanes. He came in for his workout, was it last week? And I asked him about, what was like going from the Ignite to Mexico City. And he's like, it's very different when you're playing for the Ignite, which is this developmental team, and winning never mattered. Because it never mattered. And I really appreciated how honest he was with that. And I really think that set those guys back. Because even in college and, mid majors, it matters. The competition and winning matters, and how you perform and the things you do and the decisions you make. Keeping it back to the Warriors, did you see what Steve Kerr did to Pods last night when he got up in the air and threw that ball away?
Yeah, he's not a happy
He yanked
camper.
him so fast, and I don't think I've ever seen Steve Kerr chew a player out during a game like he did Pods last night.
What you just said, though, is exactly why it took so long for Chauncey Billups to come around to Scoot Henderson.
Mm-hmm.
Is that winning didn't matter for 2 years for Scoot Henderson. And he played like it for a long time here. Chauncey and he put his ass on the bench, too. Yeah. And Chauncey started to play him more when it looked like he gave an F.
Yeah. And then, and I think you could say the exact same thing about Kuminga. If he would just do the things. Have you watched Shooting Guards yet?
What?
The Untold Shooting Guards, the Javaris Crittenton, Gilbert Arenas thing?
No.
Dude, it's worth the watch. And it goes through and highlights Javaris with the Lakers because he thought he was going to be picked a lot higher. And Javaris Crittenton was like the top 5 player in the country, like coming out of high school. He was a McDonald's All-American on that, LeBron team, and Chase Budinger, or not LeBron, but Chase Budinger and Kevin Durant and all those guys. Like, it was a loaded team.
All right.
But that part of it, though, him going to the Lakers and just being pushed aside, his head said, I'm supposed to be the dude. And it killed his confidence because he didn't even dress in game 1. And that finding that spot of like mentally where you are and where you need to be is just so huge.